with privacy rights. Those are very, very important concerns.
Important, yes, but when it comes to tracking down ISIS in America, are we being too PC? Welcome, everyone. I'm Charles Payne in for Neil Cavuto, and this is Your World. Do suspected ISIS terrorists deserve the same rights as law-abiding Americans? Retired Green Beret Ben Collins says protecting the public should be the top priority. All right, Ben, well, you heard the Attorney General, and, obviously everyone thinks about this, the First Amendment, speaking up, but when you put this kind of stuff on social media, your intent to join ISIS, your intent to hurt Americans, I think you start to lose a lot of rights.
No, I would agree, Charles, and I think they should be held accountable for what they're putting there. I mean, this is, the discussion about privacy versus freedom is something that we've had and we should continue to have. It's a very important dialogue. I mean, this is something, if you look at in history, we've certainly seen before, right? If you look at something to the other extreme. Remember that in World War II, FDR, we put an entire, generation almost of Japanese in internment camps under the name of staying safe, which I think we can all agree on is certainly not the right thing to do. In this case, the difference here is we actually have probable cause, right? So when you actually have these individuals that come out on social media and say, it is my intent to harm Americans in the United States, I think they should be held accountable for it.
So Ben, let me jump in then. Let me ask you then. So that someone says, I want to join ISIS, I want to harm my fellow Americans, there's your probable cause. What's the next step? Are they arrested? Obviously, we've interrogated a lot of these people. We've interviewed them. Even a gyrocopter guy was interviewed. But then it seems like we dropped the ball.
Well, when you say drop the ball, it's very hard, I think, to I think the bigger picture here is actually tying, some of the local law enforcement organizations, all the way down to these local sheriff's department and counties, to the national broader intelligence organizations. You've got different resources that are available to these organizations, and we need to ensure that they're actually speaking to each other. But I think, Charles, really, if we look at it from a bigger picture, I think, it was telling that she made this announcement, certainly, on the wake of announcing that she was going to launch an investigation into the Baltimore Police Department. And the two things are they are tied. I think we're focusing on certainly some of the wrong issues here at times, and we're not looking at it from a broader sense.
But Ben, do we actually arrest these people when they go on social media and say, I want to join ISIS, I want to hurt people because of whatever, I don't like America, I don't like the values of America? When they state that, is that probable cause enough to go out and actually detain them, and how long could we keep them?
So, look, I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer in this case. I think somebody offering support for ISIS saying, look, I believe in their message, again, it's not something we'd like to hear, but are they crossing a line? I mean, I think the courts are going to have to decide that, to be honest. Look, as a citizen, I can say that if somebody comes and, on Facebook or Twitter and says, I am going to join ISIS and I'm going to play my role in harming Americans, I think that should be grounds for somebody to be held. It's your right to say it, but it's also my right to protect my society.
And I do agree. We think back to 9/11 and how much intel we had amongst the different agencies who didn't communicate with each other. And again, to see that sort of thing repeated, it's very problematic. I mean, you've been involved with the military. Whose responsibility is that? Does that have to come from way on high and filter down to all law enforcement levels?
I do, and I think we've certainly taken a right step. Part of the problem, unfortunately, though, is bureaucracies tend to become bureaucratic, and they're slow to move. So, under the creation of the Department of Homeland Security, and when you start adding 25 or 30 different organizations, it's not just culturally different inside of these, but their leaders have to work together to ensure that they're cooperating. And it's all about timeliness, right, Charles? I mean, it's getting that information, tying the clues together in a timely fashion so that our law enforcement can actually do it. But, I'd like to see us actually start focusing. Look, let's focus on, why is there such a hotbed of, why are they able to recruit?
Well,
right?
yeah, I mean, that's a whole different thing. But, for me, the fact that they're using social media as a double-edged sword, because it also gives us the ability to watch them very carefully and, to your point, maybe act before it's too late. Hey, Ben Collins, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
It's good to see you, Charles. Thank you.
You too. Now to Jennifer Griffin, who's at the Pentagon, where they are actually beefing up security due to ISIS threats. Jennifer.